Alrighty, guys, welcome to Chat with the Brewer Live. This is Seth Koch at Wooden Legs Brewing Company in Brookings, South Dakota, coming live for the second time, the second attempt here. We've got Fargo Brewing. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right. I tried to catch you in mid-drink. We can do a spit take for the next one if you want to.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to actually go over some of the beers that we've got here, but I think everybody wants to know, because we've been waiting to hear about it, is tell us a bit about Fargo Brewing Company.
Fargo Brewing Company started back in 2010, and they contracted brewing for about 2-3 years, and then the brewery opened up about 2 years ago, and we are celebrating our 2-year anniversary coming up here in September. So we're still kind of young as a brewery, but the company has been around for about 5 years or so. And we make about 4 core brands, and we do about half a dozen one-offs, and then we also have our 4 seasonal brands that come out every season. So.
Well, we've got a couple of them here, Paul. I've got Iron Horse, Double Buster, Stone's Throw, and Woodchipper. I'm not going to pick an order. How about you tell us which order we should try these in?
We'll start out. We'll start with the Stone's Throw. That's our most popular beer. Probably people are most commonly know about that beer. The Stone's Throw is it's basically an 80 shilling Scottish ale. So it clocks in at about that 5%, maybe a little shy. Excellent drinking beer. It's just that go-to everyday beer, man. It's just nice brown beer. Nothing showy, nothing crazy.
Easy to drink, approachable. I like these words. Nothing crazy. Tell us a little bit about who designs these beers now, Paul. Are these ancient family homebrew recipes, or do you guys collaborate on them? How's that go?
No, those all the beers are designed by my brewmaster and owner, Chris Anderson, and I am just the everyday brewer, so I have not come up with any of these beers. No. But being said, I think they're all designed excellently beers. Very well-rounded, approachable beers, like I said.
Well, credit where credit is due to the everyday brewer here. How long, Paul, have you worked with the company there?
I've been here. I'm actually just hitting my 1-year mark. I came on last April, and been just plugging away ever since, man. Living the dream of a home brewer right here.
So you're on for a year. How did you get a job with the brewing company? That's every home brewer's dream, right?
That is. I was just working at a local liquor store, and the brewmaster came in and was like, hey, we're looking for a brewer position. And I was like, man, I'm just a home brewer. I don't do this professionally. And he's like, just come in and hang out and see if you like it. And I kind of blew it off for about 2 weeks because I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm just a home brewer. And he came back, and been here ever since.
Well, we've got the group here tasting this one. This comes in the striking blue can. Tell us a little bit about the malts. Lots of pale ale malts, right?
Lots of pale ale malts, and we use about 3 different English crystals in it to get that real nice, rich, caramely flavor. And then we use some Bonlander Munich from Breeze and a touch of roasted barley and midnight wheat to get our color.
Midnight wheat. I've heard of this. This is a debittered malt, right? So you get some of the color without any of the strong flavors.
Yep. And then it also adds a little bit of that head retention to help keep the head on the beer. So, but yeah, like I said, really easy drinking beer.
Now we happen to have a canned variety of this, and I know you guys just started distributing down in South Dakota. What was that? Six months ago, maybe?
Yep. Not long ago.
And we have cans. You do draft. Do you do big format? Do you do bombers and those things?
We do not. We are strictly draft and canned products. We do have a 4-head bottle filler, but we haven't had enough time to dial it in. So it's still kind of work in progress.
So we've got a couple more here. This was the stone's throw out of the can. I've got Woodchipper next, Iron Horse, or Double Buster. How about you tell me what we should try?
Let's start with the Iron Horse.
All right, the Iron Horse. I got to go to the draft line for that. I'm going to have Ange help me here, so we're going to talk a little bit more about Fargo Brewing Company.
No problem, man.
So Fargo Brewing Company, located on I-29. You guys are probably our closest brewery to the north here in Fargo. How many brewing companies? Tell us a little bit about the beer scene in Fargo. I know there's a couple brewing companies, right?
Yep. We're the biggest one. But then there's also Drecker Brewing that opened up about 6 months ago, and then we just had another one open up 2 months ago called Killstone. And then we have Junkyard Brewing just across the river in Moorhead, Minnesota, that opened up about 3 years ago.
So you've got 4 breweries in the immediate area there now. Now, how many people live in Fargo? That actually seems like a lot of breweries for Fargo.
Fargo and Moorhead combined, we're at about 125,000 people.
Oh, cool. Well, cool. And you're only a few hours away here from Brookings, then. So tell us a little bit more about the beer scene in North Dakota. I know North Dakota has a bit of a distribution law. Like, you can self-distribute at some capacity. Yep. Is that correct?
That is correct. I believe it's you can self-distribute up to about 5,000 barrels annually. And it actually just got passed through legislation that they are allowing breweries to have multiple locations. So that's opening up a lot of doors for breweries, that want to do multiple tap rooms and possibly multiple location breweries. But the scene it's slowly growing. I could definitely say working at liquor stores around here and now working at a brewery, it is a little slower compared to, of course, Denver and Portland and San Francisco. But people are definitely catching on to good beer, and the best thing about, I think, North Dakota is people know what they like, and if you can find what they like, it's going to be a lot easier for everyone. So
the next one we have here is the Iron Horse. I think everybody in the back got it served here. Tell us a little bit about the Iron Horse. This definitely is more pale in complexion. What do we need to know about this beer?
The Iron Horse is just our standard American Pale Ale. The basic Pale Ale malt, and then we have a touch of Vienna in there. And then we do all our late hopping with Falconer's Flight and Falconer's Flight 7Cs. And then we also whirlpool with Crystal hops. And then we dry hop with Falconer's Flight and Falconer's Flight 7Cs.
Excellent. Those are actually some of our favorite combinations here at the pub. This has some very striking similarities to a couple local favorites here. Very, very good beer. Very clear. I'd imagine you guys filter all your beers.
We do not.
Okay, really? How do you guys get it this clear?
We biofine, but that's all the clarification agents we use is just a biofine in fermenter and just natural crashing. Yeah, it's all natural settling. So yeah, no filtering, no separation at all.
Awesome. So how big a brewery do you guys have up there, Paul?
We run a 20-barrel brew house, and then we have 4 40-barrel fermenters and then 3 60-barrel fermenters. This year we're projected to hit about that 6,500 barrels this year. So we're really busting the beer out here, which is nice.
So that's running that system full time to get to 6,500. Then the obvious.
We're brewing about four times a week.
Then the obvious question that everybody also always seems to ask is, if you're brewing that much, when are you going to get bigger? What's the next plans? Is Fargo going to take over the rest of North Dakota?
I hope so, but as of right now, we're just going to try to mainly focus this year on our existing market and try to keep that really under control, because it'll be our first summer being fully distributing into the Twin Cities. So it's going to be an endeavor.
Excellent. Good segue there. I know you're in South Dakota, and now I know you're out in Minnesota in the Twin Cities. Where else can people of the world find Fargo Brewing Company beers?
Just all of North Dakota and part of South Dakota and 3/4 of Minnesota, and that's it right now.
There you go. It's all pretty local and pretty close. We've taken some liberties, and we've actually poured the Double Buster. I'm not sure if that's the one you want to have next, but I think we've all been so excited with it that we decided we wanted to try it. So this one, from what I understand, is pretty limited. I know we had to claw and fight to get our hands on a 6-barrel here, and we put it on tap when we originally tried to do this meeting, whenever it blacked out a month ago.
Yep.
And we took it off tap immediately, knowing how good it was, in order to us have it again today. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the Double Buster?
What the Double Buster was our 4th-year anniversary beer, and basically all we did with that is we did 2 first-running batches of our regular Sod Buster, and then and that's about it. Just made a big Imperial Porter off our regular single porter and just took first runnings.
So where did you you didn't possibly dump the second runnings? Is there another mystery beer in the back somewhere?
There is, yes.
Okay.
It's kind of hiding out right now, and nobody's seen it, and it's just being real quiet about it.
There you go. That is good to hear. You know, full props and full points for this one. I am a big fan of first running beers, just because you have the character and the love of the beer that it's derived from, but it has such that intensity, and I do love a first running beer. We're going to pour one more, and the last one here is the Woodchipper, and then I'm going to open the floor up for some questions here. So as I go around and pour some Woodchipper here, let me know a little bit about this beer. And of course, the name seems kind of obvious for anybody in this area of the country, but maybe for the sake of anybody on the internet, we should let them know where the Woodchipper name comes from.
Yeah, we can do that. Well, to start off, the Woodchipper is obviously the play on Coen Brothers' Fargo, the movie, where I think it's Steve Buscemi gets ran through the Woodchipper. But about the beer itself is basically pale ale malt and a touch of Munich, and then a little Crystal 60, and then we hop it up with Cascade, Chinook, and Simcoe, I believe. Let me think about that. Yeah, and then we dry hop it with Cascade, Centennial, and Simcoe, and that's where you're getting that, like, you're gonna find it's gonna be nice and resiny, nice hints of pine, and of course the dankness from the Simcoe. And it clocks in right at about that 6.7%, so it's not a massive IPA, but it's that standard line. Yeah, and again, very approachable beer. Like that's one of our biggest focus on the beers we brew are approachable and really easy drinking beers.
So I think between the beers that we've tried, they've all had, in my opinion, a little bit different inspirations. Do you guys find yourself a West Coast brewery, an East Coast brewery, a No Coast? I mean, or do you just love the Upper Midwest here and brew what you want to drink?
Yeah, that's. I think that's basically our focus, is to be that, like, best of both worlds. As being a Midwestern brewery, is you want to be approachable, but I love malt and I love hops, so I'm glad I found this place, because it does definitely have the best of both worlds. Like, a lot of people do call them no-coast breweries. But yeah, we definitely try to find that happy ground of approachable and still lively enough beers for the Midwest around here.
It seems like the Midwest palate doesn't really have a propensity towards either way. Like, you can make a crazy hoppy beer or some crazy double down porters, and people are still loving it. What are the other what other trends do you guys see up in Fargo?
Oh, what was that?
What other trends do you guys see in Fargo? I mean, is it still Hophead City? Are they getting into the sours, oak, something unknown yet? Like, what does the city of Fargo have?
I definitely see a lot more like sour beers are coming around real quick, and definitely like farmhouse style beers. Like, people around here love a good saison and a good Belgian wit, but people are coming around to sour beers, which is definitely a little tougher to make because they take so much time. But yeah, I definitely see a lot more Belgian style beers picking up around here.
So let's take a look at this one. This is the last of. I mean, I have not even tried this. This is the infamous Woodchipper from the said movie here. Well, that has more of a lasting bitterness than of course the pale ale, but that is very, very good. Again, if for those of you that can't see at home, but it's extremely clear, in complexion here. Well balanced. Well
Yep.
done. I really enjoy that. So,
Thank you.
do you guys have hop contracts now that you're old enough to do it? I mean, do you have access to all the hops and things you want to get, or do you still run some limitations of being the little breweries?
We definitely do run into a lot of issues of hops. I mean, everyone does. We do have contracts out, but it's going to be a lot more your basic varieties. Like, I can't get my hands on any Citra, Amarillo. We get a little bit of Mosaic and a little bit of Simcoe, but it's basically all your basic varieties: Cascade, Chinook, Centennial. We bitter strictly with Horizon, but yeah, that's about it. And we do contract through smaller farms for our hops. Our big hop contracts are through a place called Indie Hops out of Oregon, and they are doing some excellent hop growing out there. But they don't have all them proprietary hops, so those are definitely always tougher to get.
Tell us, we heard earlier that it sounds like you've got a party going on. Tell us a little bit about the tap room there. If people make the journey from Brookings to Fargo and are looking for the brewing company, what can they expect to find?
Nothing too crazy. It's a really basic tap room. We have about 10 taps, and they're usually always full. But yeah, it's just a little back room in the brewery. That's in North Fargo. Nothing crazy. We actually just use picnic tables and old wire spools for tables and chairs, so nothing crazy.
Works by mind. Hey, I've got a couple questions from the back. The first one was, they know that North Dakota is one of the largest malt producing areas in the U.S. I know you probably have to get out west a little bit to really get into the malt places. Do you guys have access to any North Dakota malt, or do you guys done small malt projects yet?
We are in the works of trying to do a little bit of malt, but yeah, we don't get our hands on any North Dakota malt right now. My dad does a little bit of farming, and I had him try to grow me 10 acres of barley last year, but it failed. But yeah, not right now. We don't have any North Dakota grown malt, which is, I think, really sad personally.
Well, there you go. There's an opportunity there. Another question came from the back. Distribution. It seems that Canada and Winnipeg would be obvious. Have you guys even played with the idea of doing international distribution?
We've kicked the idea around, but nothing for sure yet. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of legal options trying to get across the border with alcohol. But again, I'm just the brewer. I just hear about these things every now and then.
Well, then you may or may not be able to help us on this one. The one other question we had is that, is there any way and is there any laws that would prohibit Fargo Brewing Company from shipping? I believe, where was it? Oklahoma was the question. Oklahoma. Can we somehow figure out how to get a beer from Fargo to Oklahoma?
Oh, that's a tough one, I think. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't know that one, because I'm guessing we'd have to work through, of course, a distributor and stuff like that. But we do sell kegs at the brewery, so if you wanted a keg of beer, you can come up and get one.
That sounds like a smoking the bandit type of proposition there. So somebody's gonna run the truck.
Big semi, you'll be okay. And of course, Burt Reynolds.
And Burt Reynolds. If somebody else, you've got the beard going, you've got at least a head start on the mustache. So obviously in this ruse, you're Burt Reynolds.
I can handle that. That's okay. We can do that.
Well, Paul, we appreciate you making time, and actually, more importantly, we appreciate you making time twice for us. I know the lights went out here in Brookings the first time. What we always ask before we go on our merry way is, what words of advice would you give? And for the people that are looking to get into the industry, and especially the people that get to follow your dream, you go from a home brewer to a brewer at one of the biggest breweries in the state. What would you tell people as they're looking to take out on this adventure?
Wow. Well, for sure, of course, keep brewing. Never stop. Brewing is one of the greatest things out there. I'll do it for the rest of my life. I feel that for sure. But trying to get into the industry, I would definitely say come very acquainted with a shovel and a squeegee. But just a lot of long hours and just put in time, I hate saying it, but hassle your local breweries. They're always looking for help. And from what I've learned in the industry in my 1 year, everyone is super helpful, and it's basically like a family, and everyone's always welcome. And if you have questions, just contact a different brewery, and 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to help you out. And just harass your breweries and buy the beer.
Paul, I have the last question, and I may get strung out in the street for this. Is there anything we can do to mend the ties between Brookings and Fargo? Could we make a Bison Jack beer or something, or is it just too far gone at this point?
Hey, personally, I have no bad will here. I got nothing.
You usually don't if you win 6 years in a row.
But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is I need to come down to your guys' brewery. I've never had any of your beer yet, so I need to make my trip down there as well. So.
Well, you know what? The weather's getting nice, Paul, and of course, it's a standing invitation for many of us here. Come down, drink our beers, hang out. Thank you very much for your time. Big round of applause to you, Paul. You can't hear because the microphone won't pick it up, but they're clapping here.
Thank you.
Thanks for stopping in. Keep making good beer, and you know what, buddy? We will chat with you later.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Paul.